Here's what we're going to do. You're going to pick, just you. Everybody can pick a different one if they want. You're going to pick one of these to do. And you can use any tool in your tool belt to do it. You can use factoring in the ZPP. You could use completing the square. I don't care. Guess and check. You can use any way that you would like to solve one of these. Let's go. Pick one and then pick a way you're going to solve. All right, guys. We're not going to go over these. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Did you notice that it's a little clunky using the methods we know?
Yeah.
Like some people might say these are even a little pesky. So, the first one works okay to complete the square. Yeah. So, we are now going to learn a method that always works. Every time. So, the whole point of this was that they're pesky. Well, when they're pesky, we have a new tool we're adding to the tool belt today called the quadratic formula. I just have it memorized, but a kid one year, I don't know if this was copyright infringement, I don't know if he looked it up on YouTube, but he came up with this song. You're not going to sing it, but you could hum it quietly in your own mind brain. And he did it to like Pop Goes the Weasel. And I think it goes like this. I think it goes, negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. That's what he did. What? I prefer to memorize it just negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a.
Okay, that just sounds like
But you're going to write this down in your notes right now because I do not expect you to memorize it just by hearing that lit song once. So I'm going to show you how to put this equation to work. So we're going to start with this function, x squared plus 4x minus 5 equals 0. And before we do anything else, let's just rephrase what we're always trying to do when we're solving a quadratic. When we're trying to solve a quadratic, there's like a parabola, and we're looking for the x-intercepts, right? The zeros, okay? So that's still the goal. So it's important it's set equal to 0. It is set equal to 0. Next up, we have seen this as standard form, right? ax squared plus bx plus c. It needs to be in standard form to use this equation. I'm going to rewrite the equation over here from your last slide. Negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So, those three letters, a, b, c, what are you noticing?
they're all
In standard form. So in standard form, in this case, a is 1, b is 4, c is negative 5. I'm also going to point out, if I did not tell you how to solve this, are you guys seeing that this would be x plus 5, x minus 1? So if I didn't give you a method, factor and use the ZPP. But we're going to practice the formula with something familiar. It's like training wheels, right? So we're not doing this time, but if you had an option, that is the best option, actually. All right, so with me, we're going to substitute these values into the formula and see what happens. And I like to actually x equals. Don't forget that x equals because that's what we're finding. So negative b is negative 4 plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a.
What is c?
C is negative 5.
Oh, no, it's 1. Sorry, I was confused because the 4 looked like an x.
Over 2a. Yeah. Okay. So really, what is this called in mathematics where I know the number for a letter and I substitute it in? Substitution. Right? So really all we're doing is substitution. Okay? And once we've done substitution, we need to evaluate this by using the order of operations. The gems, as I like to call it, right? Because PEMDAS, we all know, is absolute trash. So, looking at this, I need to do grouping first, which means everything under the square root has to happen first. So, under my square root, I have a 16 plus 20 over 2 times 1. Right? Here's my 16. Here's my 20. Which means x equals negative 4 plus square root of 36, plus or minus square root of 36 over 2. So this is where I'm going to get my two answers. I got negative 4 plus 6 over 2. And I've got negative 4 minus 6 over 2. It's because, remember, that square root has two answers. We already know that. And that gives me an answer of 1 and negative 5.
How did you figure this out?
I just did it. So again, we're going to just substitute into this new fancy equation that works for every quadratic.
How did people figure out that?
Well, it comes, Bob, from this thing right here, without going too far into it, because we only have this lesson and one more before we start reviewing. This is called the discriminant. And that part's telling us how many answers they are. And this negative b over 2, the b over 2a, that gives us the axis of symmetry. So it's kind of like doing this axis of symmetry, splitting it thing to get the zeros. But that's the short answer for you for that. Okay, so these are the two answers. And notice, if I use the ZPP, negative 5 and 1. Again, if you got this one and I did not give you a method, factor. But some kids just love this because this works every time. Emmett.
I was just curious if
All right, do it to it. A suggestion. Remember, I said a good suggestion is to practice writing it. If we write the equation every time we do it, we're going to know it for the test. Also, I suggest getting organized with your A, B, and C values before you do anything else. Get after it. Let's see how you do. Let's set it up. A is 9. B is negative 6. C is 1. So, x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a.
Isn't it negative 6 up at the top?
No, because it's negative b, which is just 6. Okay. So if b is negative 6, negative b is 6. Okay. Then from here, I got the square root of 36 minus 36 over 18.
Wait, but don't you do negative 4 times 1 too?
Okay, so negative 4 times 9 is negative 36. Negative 36 times 1 is negative 36. So 36 minus 36.
That and multiply that by 1.
Order of operations would require me to do that first.
I thought you would do negative 4 times 9, negative 4 times 1, and then add those two.
No, it's not a 9 plus 1 in parentheses to distribute. It's just this thing times this thing times this. So this says 6 plus the square root of 0 divided by 18. Well, how many answers are there for the square root of 0?
0.
There's just one answer. It is 0. So 6 plus 0 is 6. We only got one answer this time, guys. X is 1/3. And here's what that means. If that is 1, that means our vertex is here. Right?
What? That's what I said.
It doesn't cross twice. It only crosses once because of this 0. Last time it crossed twice because it wasn't 0. Spencer. So here's your next one. This one's going to be a little bit of a challenge. I'm going to give you the answers. Okay? You need to make sure you can do the work to get there. The answer to this is negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 28 over 2. So don't worry about anything except you're going to make your work match this. The square root of 28 is not a nice number, right? It's not like 4 or 2, right? So we're leaving it in the answer. The plus and minus are giving us our two answers. It's a big irrational number, so we're going to keep it like this. I want you to see how this shakes out from the work. That's why I get that this looks different. So get your A, B, and C. Use your quadratic formula. And make sure that you can get there. All right? Get after it. Okay, let's plug in our A, B, and C. A is 1. B is 10. C is 18. Negative B plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4AC over 2A. Okay. So let's simplify it down a little bit. Plus or minus the square root of 100 minus 72. Well, what's 100 minus 72? So if I divide everything here by 2, I get negative 10 divided by 2 is negative 5. Square root of 28 divided by 2 is square root of 28 halves.
Square root of 28 is 5.29.
It's a big, ugly number. The answer I actually would prefer, but we're not there yet, is this number right here, square root of 28, is equal to 2 square roots of 7. And you get that because, do you guys,
I saw that on my calculator.
there's a factor of 4 in 28. You could square root that factor of 4 and leave yourself with the factor of 7. But we're not worried about that too much right now. Yep, this right here is good. Okay, you got one more to try on your own. One more. I got to find it again, though. Because I can't look at my computer. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Here it is. 6x squared plus 9x minus 15. The thing I want you to note, before I said, hey, factor it would be easier. Can you factor this very easy? Looking at this? No, usually, if this a term is not 1, the quadratic formula is the easiest way. You're going to get A, B, and C. And do it to it. Let's go. Here we go. The formula is, well, let's write these down. A, B, C. Negative B plus or minus the square root B squared minus 4AC over 2A. That gives me negative 9 plus or minus the square root of 81 plus, what's 4 times 6 times 15? 360. When I do that, I do 4 times 15 first. 4 times 15, 60 times 6. Okay. And then divide that by 12. So I've got negative 9 plus or minus the square root of 41 over 12, which is nice because 21. 9 minus 21 over 12. Those are my two answers. Sorry, that's negative 9. So I get 1. And I get negative 30 twelfths, but we're going to simplify that by dividing everything by 6 to get negative 5 halves for our second answer. That is negative 2.5, but why not just simplify a fraction and be done? You didn't even have to touch a calculator, right?
Yeah.
Sweet.
For like the negative 24.
All right, homework's in the top basket. I'm not going to make you do the summer. You got enough practice. Let's go.